Jason Clark walked into the small laboratory and set down his coffee mug. It was early, just past 6 in the morning, and the research facility was quiet. He liked it this way. No distractions, no one looking over his shoulder, just him and his work. The fluorescent lights hummed above as Jason turned on his computer. For 3 years he had worked at this underfunded research center. While other scientists got assigned to exciting projects, Jason analyzed fuel efficiency data. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. Jason sipped his coffee and reviewed yesterday's test results. Something caught his eye. An odd energy reading in test number 37. He frowned and ran the numbers again. The results didn't make sense according to standard physics models. That can't be right, he mumbled. He spent the next 2 hours checking his equipment. Everything worked properly. By the time other researchers arrived, Jason had forgotten his breakfast as he scribbled equations on a whiteboard. "Morning, Clark," said Dr. Nancy Wells as she entered. "You're here early again." Jason barely looked up. "Nancy, can you look at this? These readings suggest the particles are moving faster than they should." Dr. Wells glanced at his work. "Probably equipment error. Don't waste time on it." "But what if it's not an error?" Jason asked. "What if the particles are actually creating a small field that bends space-time?" Dr. Wells laughed. "Now you're just making stuff up. Stick to the project goals, Jason. Dr. Miller wants the efficiency report by Friday." Jason nodded, but after she left, he continued working on his discovery. For weeks, he stayed late and arrived early. He borrowed equipment when no one was looking and ran tests on his strange readings. One night, as the janitor mopped the halls, Jason's test produced something remarkable. For a split second, a small object seemed to disappear and reappear across the table. His hands shook as he recorded the data. The next day, Jason tried to tell Dr. Frank Miller about his findings. "Sir, I think I've discovered something important about particle movement through space." Dr. Miller didn't look up from his computer. "We don't have time for side projects, Clark. The government funds us to improve fuel cells, not chase wild theories." "But this could change everything we know about physics," Jason insisted. Dr. Miller sighed. "Listen, you're a good data analyst, but leave the theoretical work to the senior researchers. Now, where's that efficiency report?" Discouraged but determined, Jason decided to continue his research at home. Each night he collected discarded parts from the laboratory trash, broken sensors, old circuit boards, power supplies deemed too worn for lab use. In his small garage, Jason built a makeshift lab. His neighbors thought he was fixing old computers for extra money. They had no idea he was testing a theory that could change humanity's future. After 2 months of work, Jason's device took shape. It wasn't pretty, a jumble of wires, salvaged parts, and custom circuits he'd soldered himself. But his calculations suggested it would work. On a cool Saturday evening, Jason made final adjustments to his creation. The machine hummed to life, drawing power from his modified home electrical system. Blue light pulsed from its core as energy readings climbed higher. Jason held his breath. This was it. Either he'd prove his theory or waste months of work. He pressed the activation button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the air in his garage shimmered. A small, swirling point of light appeared above the device, growing steadily larger. The light bent inward, forming what looked like a tiny whirlpool in the air. Jason's hands trembled as he scanned the phenomenon with a sensor. The readings confirmed what he could hardly believe. He had created a stable micro-wormhole in his garage. "It works," he whispered, eyes wide with wonder. "It actually works." What Jason didn't know was that his tiny wormhole had sent ripples through space that extended far beyond Earth. Ripples that would soon bring unexpected visitors to his doorstep and change the course of human history forever. Jason stared at the small wormhole hovering in his garage. He reached for a pencil on his workbench and carefully pushed it toward the swirling light. The pencil's tip disappeared into the vortex. When he pulled it back, the end was ice cold. "Incredible," he whispered. He worked through the night, running tests and taking measurements. By sunrise, his excitement had only grown. His discovery could revolutionize travel, energy production, and communication. The possibilities seemed endless. Jason fell asleep at his desk around dawn. He dreamed of stars and distant worlds. A strange humming woke him just after noon. At first he thought it was his equipment, but the sound came from outside. He stepped into his backyard and froze. Hovering 30 feet above his lawn was a metallic craft about the size of a small bus. It had no wings or visible engines, just a smooth silver surface that reflected the sunlight. "This can't be happening," Jason said, rubbing his eyes. A beam of blue light shot down from the craft's underside. Within the light appeared a figure. As the beam faded, the visitor became clear. It stood on 2 legs but looked nothing like a human. Its skin was pale blue with faint patterns that seemed to shift like clouds. Large, almond-shaped eyes studied Jason with obvious intelligence. "You have created a spatial disturbance," the being said in perfect English, though its mouth barely moved. "This is unexpected from your species." Jason backed away slowly. What are you?" "I am Captain Zara of the Vuruk scout vessel Horizon Seeker. Your experiment created ripples in space-time that our sensors detected." The alien tilted its head. "How did you achieve this with such primitive technology?" Before Jason could answer, car doors slammed in front of his house. He turned to see men and women in black suits approaching. They carried weapons. "Government agents," Jason muttered. "They must have detected the wormhole too." Captain Zara looked concerned. "Your global authorities are not ready for this encounter. This is not how first contact should happen." A woman stepped forward from the group of agents. "Jason Clark. I'm Agent Olivia Peterson. Step away from the alien and come with us." Jason stood his ground. "Wait, you don't understand what's happening here." "We understand enough," Agent Peterson said. "That thing appeared after your experiment triggered every unusual energy detector we have." Captain Zara addressed the agents. "Your species was not scheduled for contact for another 3 centuries. This human has achieved something remarkable that forces us to reconsider humanity's status." "Status? What do you mean by status?" Agent Peterson demanded. "The Galactic Council classifies all developing civilizations," Captain Zara explained. "Humanity was categorized as Stage 3, capable of planetary travel but centuries from true spacefaring ability." Jason stepped forward. "You're saying there's a whole council of alien species out there?" 47 spacefaring civilizations in this sector alone," Captain Zara confirmed. "Jason Clark, your discovery changes everything. The council must evaluate this development." Agent Peterson raised her hand. "He's not going anywhere. This is a matter of national security." "It is far more than that," Captain Zara replied. "It is a matter of galactic security. The technology he created cannot remain solely in human hands. It must be properly understood." A high-pitched whine filled the air as the scout ship lowered closer to the ground. "Jason Clark must appear before the council," Captain Zara stated. "You may send representatives as well if you wish, but this meeting will happen." "And if we refuse?" Agent Peterson challenged. "That would be unfortunate," Captain Zara said. "The council does not issue invitations lightly." Jason looked between the alien and the government agents, suddenly understanding his position. He wasn't just a physicist anymore. He had become something he never expected, humanity's first bridge to the stars. "I'll go," Jason said finally. "But Agent Peterson comes too. Earth deserves to know what's happening." Captain Zara nodded. "Acceptable. Prepare yourselves. The council awaits." Jason and Agent Peterson stood in the transport beam, rising toward the alien ship. The ground below grew smaller until his house looked like a toy. Jason's heart raced. Just yesterday, he was an ordinary physicist. Now, he was leaving Earth. Inside, the ship, smooth curved walls glowed with soft light. Captain Zara led them to a round chamber with seats that formed themselves to fit their bodies. "We will reach the council station in 7 of your hours," Captain Zara said. "I suggest you rest." "Rest? How can we rest?" Peterson demanded. You're taking us to a meeting that will change human history. Captain Zara's skin pattern shifted to darker blue. Agent Peterson, your concern is understandable, but the Council already knows about humans. We have observed Earth for centuries. You've been watching us? Jason asked. All developing worlds are monitored, Zara explained. We watch, we learn, but we do not interfere until a species reaches certain milestones. And my wormhole experiment was one of those milestones, Jason said. Not just a milestone, an anomaly. Zara touched a wall panel, and a hologram appeared, showing complex equations. According to our science, humans should not achieve stable wormhole technology for at least 300 more years. Jason studied the alien mathematics. Despite the strange symbols, he recognized patterns similar to his own work. Your approach should not have succeeded, Zara continued. Yet it did. The Council must understand how. Peterson crossed her arms. So we're being taken for questioning? Are we prisoners? Not prisoners. Witnesses to history, Zara replied. Jason Clark will be the first human to address the full Council. As the ship traveled, Jason explained his discovery to Zara. He described how he noticed unusual patterns in particle behavior that others dismissed. How he approached the problem differently than textbook physics suggested. Your method is unique, Zara said. You ignored established principles. I didn't ignore them, Jason corrected. I just questioned their limitations. Hours later, the ship slowed. Through a viewing window, Jason saw a massive structure floating in space. It resembled a giant wheel with spokes connecting to a central hub. Ships of various sizes and shapes moved around it. The Council Station, Zara announced, home to representatives from all member species. Their ship docked at one of the spokes. When the doors opened, Jason gasped. Aliens of different shapes, sizes, and colors moved through a vast terminal. Some floated rather than walked. Others had multiple limbs or no limbs at all. Stay close, Zara instructed. The sight of humans will cause curiosity. As they walked, alien beings stopped to stare. Some pointed, others moved away. Jason felt like an animal in a zoo. They entered a large chamber where 12 aliens sat in a semicircle on elevated platforms. At the center sat a tall being with golden skin and 4 arms. Council members, Zara announced. I present Jason Clark and Agent Olivia Peterson of Earth. The golden-skinned alien stood. I am Ulthan, High Speaker of the Council. Jason Clark, your discovery has created much discussion among us. Another council member with gray skin and sharp features leaned forward. If it truly is his discovery, I am Dravkor, and I find it suspicious that a primitive human has supposedly mastered physics that took the Vrex Empire centuries to develop. I can explain my work, Jason offered. You will have that opportunity, Ulthan said. But first we must determine humanity's readiness for galactic society. Your species is known for violence and conflict. We have our problems, Peterson spoke up. But we're also capable of great achievements and compassion. Dravkor made a harsh sound like grinding metal. Pretty words. The question remains, was this human's discovery legitimate science or stolen? Technology? A formal inquiry will be conducted, Ulthan declared. Until then, Jason Clark will serve as temporary human representative to the Council. Jason stared in shock. Me? But I'm just a physicist, not a diplomat. You are the bridge between worlds now, Ulthan said. The fate of human integration into galactic society rests largely on your shoulders. Jason looked at Peterson, who seemed equally stunned. He had wanted recognition for his work, but not this level of responsibility. Now, the future of Earth depended on his ability to prove himself to an alien council that already doubted him. 3 days passed as Jason settled into his quarters on the Council Station. The room adjusted its environment to Earth standards, but everything still felt alien to him. Agent Peterson had been given separate quarters and access to communication, channels to report back to Earth authorities. A chime sounded at Jason's door. It slid open to reveal Ulthan, the golden-skinned council leader. The trial begins tomorrow, Ulthan said. I thought you might want to prepare. Trial? Jason stood up quickly. I thought this was an inquiry. Dravkor has formally accused you of technology theft. He claims no human could have made this discovery independently. Ulthan's four hands made a gesture of regret. The council must take such accusations seriously. But I didn't steal anything. I developed the theory myself. I believe you, Ulthan said, but beliefs are not evidence. Council scientists have tried to replicate your results using standard approaches. They failed. Jason paced the room. That's because they're using standard approaches. My method is different. Explain this difference, Ulthan requested. Jason walked to a wall panel and began drawing equations. Look, every species approaches science based on how they evolved to see the universe, right? Humans evolved as pattern seekers and problem solvers. We look for connections others might miss. Ulthan studied the equations. Your approach ignores established boundaries between theoretical fields. Exactly. I combined elements from quantum mechanics, gravity theory, and electromagnetism that textbooks say shouldn't be combined. Jason drew more frantically. I didn't know these were separate fields in alien science. Fascinating, Ulthan said. You succeeded because of your ignorance, not despite it. I wouldn't call it ignorance, Jason corrected, just a different perspective. The next day, Jason entered the council chamber. It was now arranged like a courtroom. Council members sat in judgment while dozens of alien observers watched from elevated platforms. Agent Peterson stood near the back, looking worried. Dravkor spoke first. This human claims to have invented technology that took the finest Vrex minds generations to develop. It is clear he either stole this knowledge or is fronting for someone who did. A council scientist displayed Jason's equations alongside traditional wormhole physics. The methods are completely different, yet both achieve the same result. We cannot reproduce the human's results using his equations. Because you're approaching it with preconceptions, Jason interrupted. Your minds are trained to see physics a certain way. Dravkor made the harsh grinding sound again. Convenient excuse for equations that make no sense. Ulthan raised a hand for silence. Perhaps a demonstration would clarify matters. Jason Clark, would you be willing to build your device here, using only materials we provide? Yes, Jason said without hesitation. Give me basic components, and I'll show you. The trial paused while a workstation was prepared in the center of the chamber. Jason was given raw materials and simple tools. For hours, he worked as the council watched. He built circuit boards, adjusted power flows, and assembled components in ways that made council scientists mumble in confusion. By late afternoon, Jason's device was complete. It looked crude compared to alien technology, but when he activated it, a small wormhole formed above the workstation. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Impossible, Dravkor said. He must have smuggled in advanced components. All materials were scanned and verified, Ulthan countered. Jason Clark has done what our scientists could not. Jason stepped forward. It's not that your scientists aren't brilliant, they are. But they're constrained by centuries of established knowledge. I approached the problem with fresh eyes. Ulthan addressed the council. We have witnessed something remarkable today. Not just a scientific breakthrough, but evidence that different species can see paths that others cannot. This human has given us new perspectives on physics itself. Most council members nodded in agreement. Only Dravkor and a few others remained skeptical. The inquiry is concluded, Ulthan announced. Jason Clark's discovery is legitimate. Furthermore, I propose that humanity be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Council, with Jason Clark as Earth's first representative. Cheers. And objections erupted simultaneously. Agent Peterson rushed forward to stand beside Jason. You did it, she whispered. You just changed humanity's future. Jason smiled, but his eyes were on Dravkor, who was leaving the chamber with angry gestures. Something told him that proving his science was only the beginning of his challenges. 1 month after the trial, Jason sat in his new office in the council's diplomatic wing. The walls displayed views of Earth, a reminder of home. As humanity's representative, He spent his days learning about galactic politics and sharing his wormhole technology with allied species. Agent Peterson, now officially Earth Security Liaison, entered the room. "The council session starts in 20 minutes, she reminded him. Jason nodded. "Any news from Earth?" "Good and bad," Peterson said. "Nations are working together to build our first official starships using your drive. But there are also fighting over who controls the technology." "Typical," Jason sighed. "Out here, we're facing a united galaxy. Back home, we're still divided." They walked together to the council chamber. Jason had learned to recognize most alien species now. The blue-skinned Vuruks were scientists and explorers. The plant-like Thela specialized in medicine. The crystalline coral were master engineers, and then there were the Vreks, a reptilian species with scaled skin and aggressive posture. They controlled most of the galaxy's fuel resources for conventional drives. Jason's wormhole technology threatened their power, and they made no secret of their displeasure. Inside the chamber, Jason took his seat at the representatives' circle. Ulthan began the session by discussing trade agreements between worlds. Then the topic turned to Jason's technology. "The human wormhole drive has now been successfully tested by 15 member worlds," Ulthan announced. "Results confirm that it requires 90% less energy than conventional drives and can be built with common materials." Murmurs of approval spread through the chamber. But then Vrex Ambassador Shaz stood up. His yellow eyes locked on Jason. "The Vrex Empire has concerns," Shaz hissed. "This technology threatens galactic stability. Primitive species could now build interstellar ships without proper oversight." "That's the point," Jason replied. "It democratizes space travel. No one should control who can explore the stars." "Naive human thinking," Shaz sneered. "Without regulation, chaos will follow. The Vrex propose that all wormhole technology be placed under our supervision." Ulthan shook his head. "The Council has already voted against monopolies on essential technology." "Then perhaps the Council is no longer fit to lead," Shaz said coldly. Sudden commotion erupted at the chamber entrance. 3 Vrex guards pushed past security, weapons drawn. One fired a beam directly at Jason. Time seemed to slow. Jason saw the energy blast coming toward him but couldn't move. At the last second, something shoved him aside. He fell to the floor as the beam struck Ulthan, who had leapt to protect him. Chaos followed. Peterson tackled one attacker while Council security surrounded the others. Jason crawled to Ulthan, who lay motionless on the floor. "Get a medical team," Jason shouted. Within minutes, Thela healers arrived and took Ulthan away. The attackers were captured and removed. "Are you hurt?" Peterson asked Jason. "I'm fine, but Ulthan..." Jason couldn't finish the sentence. Hours later, the council reconvened an emergency session. The oldest member, a coral named Vaz, addressed the chamber. "Ulthan will recover, but this attack cannot go unanswered. Evidence shows the assassins were hired by someone with council access." All eyes turned to Ambassador Shaz, who looked nervous. "The Vrex Empire denies any involvement," he protested. "Then you won't mind a full investigation," Vaz replied. A security officer approached Vaz and whispered something. The coral's crystalline body darkened with concern. "We have discovered a disturbing connection," Vaz announced. The authorization codes used by the attackers were traced to council member Dravkor, who has now fled the station. Gasps filled the chamber. Jason felt a chill. Dravkor had opposed him from the beginning, but to attempt assassination? "There's more," Vaz continued. "Data records show Dravkor has been secretly communicating with the Vrex military. They are mobilizing their fleet." Peterson grabbed Jason's arm. "This isn't just about you anymore, it's about your technology." Jason stood up, addressing the council. "We need to warn Earth and other worlds. If the Vrex want to control wormhole technology, they might attack anyone using it." "The council will respond," Vaz assured him. "But you, Jason Clark, are now their primary target. You must be protected." Jason looked around at the concerned alien faces. His simple discovery had triggered a potential galactic conflict, and he was caught in the middle of it all. Jason and Peterson raced through the narrow corridors of the lower levels of the council station. Security alarms blared overhead. The council's protection isn't enough anymore, Peterson said, checking her weapon. The Vrex have infiltrated, too deeply. They reached a small docking bay where Captain Zara waited beside her scout ship. Everything is ready, Zara said. But are you sure about this plan? Going into hiding means abandoning your position on the council. I'm not abandoning anything, Jason replied. I'm just changing tactics. The Vrex want to control my technology to maintain their power. I need to make sure that doesn't happen. They boarded the ship and departed quickly. Through the viewport, Jason watched the council station grow smaller. For weeks it had been his home. Now it was too dangerous to stay. Where are we going? Peterson asked. To worlds the Vrex have oppressed, Jason explained. Places that need this technology the most. Captain Zara set course for the outer systems. The fringe worlds will welcome you. They've suffered under Vrex fuel monopolies for generations. For the next 3 months, Jason traveled from planet to planet. On each world, he taught local engineers how to build wormhole drives. He improved the design, making it simpler and more efficient. News of his movement spread throughout the galaxy. On a mining colony called Terrace, Jason met with resistance leaders in an underground bunker. The planet's surface was scarred from intensive mining operations run by Vrex corporations. Your drive has already changed our lives, said Kel, the resistance leader. We built our first independent ships last month. For the first time, we can trade without Vrex permission. The Vrex won't tolerate this for long, Peterson warned. Their military has been hunting us across 17 systems. Let them come, Kel replied. More worlds join us every day. A young engineer named Leah approached Jason with diagrams. I've been studying your equations. I think I've found a way to apply the same principles to defensive shields. Jason examined her work. This is brilliant. You've seen connections I missed. He turned to the others. If we can develop shield technology based on wormhole principles, we could protect worlds from Vrex attacks. For weeks, Jason and Leah worked together, testing different configurations. Peterson maintained security while Captain Zara traveled between worlds, spreading their advances. Meanwhile, back on Earth, nations had united against the Vrex threat. The first Earth Defense Fleet took shape, built around Jason's technology. Agent Peterson received a message from her superiors. Earth wants us to return, she told Jason. They've completed 10 ships and want you to help prepare them for possible conflict. Jason looked up from his work with Leah. The timing is good. We've made breakthroughs here that Earth can use. As they prepared to leave Terrace, alarms sounded. Throughout the colony, Captain Zara rushed into the lab. Vrex warships have entered the system, she announced. They've bypassed the outer defenses. They'll reach Terrace within hours. How many ships? Peterson asked. A full battle group, 15 warships. Jason looked at the prototype shield generator they had built. It's not fully tested yet. It's all we have, Leah said. I can modify the mining facility's power grid to amplify the shield. Jason nodded. Do it. Peterson, contact Earth. Tell them we need reinforcements. He turned to the resistance leaders. Evacuate as many people as possible. Use every ship with a wormhole drive. As everyone rushed to their tasks, Jason stayed to help Leah with the shield. Outside, the sky darkened as Vrex ships entered the atmosphere. Will this work? Leah asked, her hands steady despite the danger. It has to, Jason replied, making final adjustments to the device. The colony shook as the first Vrex bombs struck the outer settlements. Time was running out. Jason's technology had given hope to oppressed worlds, but now it had also brought the wrath of a powerful empire down upon them. The Vrex weren't just hunting him anymore. They were ready to destroy entire worlds to stop his ideas from spreading. The shield generator hummed to life as Jason made the final connections. Blue energy spread across the sky above Terrace, forming a protective dome over the main colony. Vrex bombs exploded against the shield, creating ripples of light but causing no damage below. It's working, Leah shouted over the noise. For now, Jason said. But the power drain is massive. We have maybe 2 hours before the generators burn out. Peterson ran into the control room. Evacuation ships are launching. Earth forces are on the way, but they won't arrive for at least 3 hours. Outside, Vrex fighters screamed through the sky, looking for weaknesses in the shield. The ground shook with each impact. "We need to get you out of here," Peterson told Jason. "You're their main target." Jason shook his head. "I won't leave these people." A resistance fighter burst through the door. Captain Zara's ship was hit. She made an emergency landing in the northern sector. "We have to help her," Jason said. Against Peterson's protests, Jason and a small team took a ground vehicle to Zara's crash site. The shield didn't extend to this area, and debris from orbital battles rained down around them. They found Zara's ship smoking in a crater, the captain injured but alive. "The Vrex fleet is massive," Zara gasped as they helped her into their vehicle. "This isn't just a hunting party. It's an invasion force." As they raced back toward the protected zone, a Vrex shuttle landed ahead, blocking their path. Armed soldiers poured out. "Go around," Peterson shouted to the driver. "No time," Jason said. He grabbed a portable shield generator they had brought. "Get Zara to safety. I'll hold them off." "That's suicide," Peterson argued. "Trust me," Jason replied. "I have an idea." The vehicle swerved away as Jason activated the portable shield. It created a small bubble of protection around him. The Vrex soldiers fired, their weapons useless against the shield. Jason adjusted the generator settings, modifying the field. In his months of working with the technology, he had discovered something important. A wormhole could be inverted, pushing outward instead of pulling inward. The Vrex commander approached, weapon ready. "Surrender, human. Your resistance is pointless. You..." "Never understood my work," Jason said, making final adjustments. "A wormhole isn't just a door, it's a force." He activated the modified device. Instead of creating a shield, it pulsed with energy. The pulse expanded outward in a wave, knocking the Vrex soldiers off their feet and disabling their weapons. Jason ran past them toward the colony. Behind him, the Vrex shuttle systems failed, stranding the soldiers. Back at the colony, the main shield was weakening. Power reserves dropped to critical levels as the Vrex increased their bombardment. Most evacuation ships had launched, but thousands of people remained. "Earth fleet reports they've engaged Vrex ships at the edge of the system," Peterson announced. "They're trying to break through." Jason studied the shield generator. "We need more time." "There's a way," Leah said quietly. "If we redirect all power to create a single massive pulse like your portable device did, we could disable the Vrex fleet temporarily." "That would drop our shields completely," Peterson warned. "For about 30 seconds, Leah confirmed. "Then, the pulse would hit their ships. If even one Vrex ship gets a shot off during those 30 seconds, Peterson didn't finish the sentence. Jason looked at the remaining colonists preparing for evacuation. "Any other options?" "None," Leah said. Jason nodded. "Do it. I'll help you reconfigure the system." They worked quickly, rerouting power systems. Outside, the shield flickered as energy was diverted. "Earth ships are taking heavy damage," Peterson reported. "They can't reach us." 10 more minutes, Jason said, hands moving across control panels. The shield grew thinner. Through it, they could see the Vrex flagship moving into position directly overhead. "They know what we're doing," Peterson said. "They're getting ready to strike the moment our shield drops." Jason looked at his friends, Peterson, Zara, Leah, and the frightened colonists. His discovery had brought them hope, but also this danger. There was only one way to ensure the pulse reached the Vrex ships before they could fire. "I need to get closer to their fleet," he said. "The pulse will be stronger at its source." Peterson saw the look in his eyes. "Jason, no." Jason climbed into a small shuttle as alarms blared throughout the colony. The shield flickered overhead, growing weaker by the minute. "This is insane," Peterson said, following him into the craft. "You'll never get close enough." "I have to try," Jason replied, strapping himself in. He lifted the portable wormhole generator. "I've modified this to create the largest pulse possible, but it needs to be near their command ship." "Then I'm coming with you," Peterson insisted. Jason shook his head. "No, Earth needs you. They need to know everything about this technology. He handed her a data chip. My latest designs. Shield improvements. New applications. Things I never shared with the council. Peterson took the chip reluctantly. There has to be another way. There isn't. Jason looked at his friend. Now go. The evacuation needs you. After Peterson left, Jason launched the shuttle. The colony's shield parted briefly to let him through, then closed behind him. Above, the Vrex fleet filled the sky, dozens of warships in attack formation. Jason opened a communication channel. This is Jason Clark to all Vrex vessels. Your fight is with me, not these people. I'm coming out alone. The Vrex flagship responded, the reptilian face of Admiral Krev appearing on screen. The human who defies the natural order. Surrender your technology, and we may spare the colony. That's why I'm here, Jason lied, guiding his shuttle toward the flagship. Inside his small craft, he continued adjusting the wormhole generator. It wasn't just a pulse device anymore. He had turned it into something new, something dangerous. Back, in the colony, Peterson watched Jason's shuttle on the tracking screens. What is he doing? He's flying straight at their main ship. Leah checked the shield power. We're down to 15 minutes before complete failure. Zara pointed to another screen. Look, the Earth fleet has broken through the Vrex blockade. They'll be here in 10 minutes. That's still too late, Peterson said. She stared at the data chip Jason had given her, understanding dawning on her face. He's not planning to come back. In space, Jason's shuttle approached the Vrex flagship. Smaller ships moved to intercept him, but held their fire, waiting for orders. Admiral Krev's voice came through again. Dock in Bay 4 for surrender. Of course, Jason replied, but changed course slightly, positioning his shuttle beneath the flagship's main engine section. The wormhole generator was ready. Jason had reversed its function completely. Instead of creating a controlled wormhole or a defensive shield, it would create an unstable, collapsing wormhole, one that would pull in everything nearby before disappearing. For Earth, Jason whispered, and activated the device. A black sphere formed outside his shuttle, growing rapidly. The Vrex ships nearest to it were pulled toward the phenomenon, their hulls straining against the gravitational force. In the colony, people watched in awe as a dark spot appeared among the Vrex fleet. Ships were being dragged into it, disappearing from view. It's a controlled wormhole collapse, Leah said in amazement. He's created a temporary black hole. The Vrex flagship fought against the pull, engines flaring desperately. But the dark sphere grew larger, engulfing more ships. The flagship's hull began to buckle. Then, in a flash of brilliant light, the phenomenon collapsed in on itself. When the light faded, the Vrex fleet was gone. So was Jason's shuttle. Earth ships arrived minutes later, securing the colony. The Vrex Empire, having lost their main fleet and leadership, quickly sued for peace. Jason's technology spread throughout the galaxy, freeing worlds from fuel dependence and opening a new era of exploration. 6 months later, the Galactic Council held a solemn ceremony. Representatives from all worlds gathered to honor the human who had changed everything. Jason Clark gave his life to protect others, Ulthan announced. His sacrifice and his innovation will never be forgotten. But as the ceremony ended, a junior council aide approached Ulthan with a data tablet. Sir, we've detected a strange signal from unexplored space. It contains mathematical formulas only one person could have created. Ulthan studied the tablet, his 4 hands trembling slightly. Where did this come from? Unknown, sir. The signal appears to be coming from another dimension. The inner council debated for days. If Jason had survived in another reality, attempting to return could cause panic or political upheaval. The hard-won peace was still fragile. Finally, they made an unprecedented decision. Jason's name would be removed from official records, replaced with the title, The Innovator. His achievements would be remembered, but his identity hidden while they secretly searched for him across dimensions. And so the galaxy asked, why did the council ban his name from their records? Few knew the truth, that somewhere beyond normal space, Jason Clark might still be alive, finding his way home.